Alright, I did the Pittsburgh Marathon this morning in like 2 hours, 53 minutes and change, which is basically a 5-minute PR for me in the marathon. I really don't run road marathons at all. I don't think I've raced one since probably 2018 for time, or 2018 for time. So I was pretty happy with that today. My goal was 250. I got 253, but I'll take it. It rained, I'd say maybe half the time, give or take a mile or two. And it poured for a good couple miles. So the conditions weren't ideal. The temperature was ideal though. It was like 55, 60 the whole time. So it wasn't too hot, not too cold. I felt pretty good all race. Just maybe around 20 or so, my legs started getting a little bit tired. I'm not used to pounding the pavement for that long. So they started to get a little, well, not just pounding the pavement by racing as much on the pavement for that long. So it did take its toll a little bit, but I'm walking fine now. I walked it out after the race. I don't know, we'll just start with the play-by-play. I pretty much pissed around all week, really getting things ready, looking things up. I was way behind the 8 ball compared to what I usually do for like a marathon or any sort of race. I just wasn't really motivated, I guess you could say. I don't know what it was. I just figured I'd race so much, I'm just gonna throw things together and everything will come together. I didn't really run much this week. I'm still recouping from the Queen Mahoman Ultra last weekend. So a little background for this weekend to put things in perspective. I went to the doctor's Thursday to get my blood work because it was due to just, check things out. And then I just wanted to see how bad I was from last weekend. My sodium levels were really low. It was actually below the low level, and that was on Thursday. My heart rate was a little bit lower than normal. I think it was maybe 50, which I understand 50 for a runner really isn't too concerned, but he was concerned because I think my temperature was like 97 something too as well. So he sent me for an EKG. It actually came back abnormal. I guess my heart's not firing the electric part right for some reason. So I have to go to the cardiologist and figure out what the hell is going on with that. I wasn't even supposed to run today. I was strongly encouraged not to, but I was a couple $100 into this race with the hotel and the race fee and everything else. Plus just in general, training and whatnot. I wasn't gonna just not come, even though I probably should have not come. I didn't really run much this week. I might have got like 15 miles in. I know it was under 20, maybe 15 to 17. I biked a bunch, maybe like 20, 30 miles. I wasn't really feeling it. Just in general, like my whole mood all week, like for the marathon was just like, Didn't really feel like racing. So Saturday, I really didn't have a game plan. So basically Saturday morning when I woke up around noon, I just threw stuff in a bag that I knew I might need or would need, a couple changes of clothes. Again, I was behind the 8 ball. I really didn't have things planned out. Look where things were going to be, time of things to even start corral crap. So not my normal routine. Then I saw the Pirates were playing, so then I had to rush around because I figured I could go to the expo real quick, then go to the Pirate game for something to do instead of just sitting around the hotel all night, bored, just watching TV. So that's what I did. I got down there probably 4 o'clock, pulled in, Went to the expo, got my bib, looked around, took some pictures. Expo was kind of this year. There wasn't really much there that I was interested in. There's like no hydration vest, which I was really looking forward to trying a few different brands on to get a new one, but whatever. Went to the hotel. I got sheets on the way to save some money because I didn't know what anybody else was doing for food. So I ate that real quick, headed over to the game, stayed to like the 7th and half inning. That was about like 9 o'clock when I left the game, which sucked because I guess it was really exciting at the end. They won like with a walk-off. I didn't even get to look to see what exactly happened yet because I know it made me upset, so I didn't do it this morning. And I went to the hotel, got back about 9:15-ish. Went up, wanted to jump in the hot tub because it closed at 10. Jumped in the pool because there's a bunch of people in the hot tub. Stretched out, loosened up a little bit in the pool, then people left, so then I got in the hot tub for like 20 minutes. I think that helped a little bit, like with my chest and whatnot, because I could feel the pressure in the pool, just like pushing on my chest. And then even in the hot tub, it just felt like just the water and the pressure just felt like it was, I don't know what it was doing, but I could feel the pressure, so I think it relieved a bunch of stress in my chest. I slept pretty good. I think I got like 6 hours, which is really abnormal for a race. Night before a race, I usually only get like 4 or 5. I think it might have got close to 6:30, but I don't know for sure. So then in the morning, I met one of my friends to give them their bib. I pissed around because I was in that Steel City Roadrunners Club. Before, they'd always have like a special drop bag or like gear check at the one hotel next to mine. Well, I guess they didn't this year. It was only like VIP or something, corporate, I don't know, whatever the hell it was. So then I had to rush around. I was going to go to the normal gear check. I didn't have time, so I just dropped it back at the hotel, which meant I had to go back to the hotel to change after the race. Not really a big deal. It actually turned out in my favor because of the weather, just to get out of dry clothes and not have to change in some bathroom or porta john and whatnot. Yeah, the breakfast wasn't ready in the hotel this morning. They just had the cold stuff out, so I ended up eating 2 Nugo bars, and then the stuff they did have was like a little bowl of cereal. I downed that real quick. Drank a Body Armor. Let's see. Got to the start. I was wearing my compression shorts, calf sleeves. I wore my Endorphin Pros today. Music, my hat. I took latex gloves in case my hands got cold during the race. And I started with a cotton shirt. That way I could ditch it. Talked to some people in the start corral, but it seemed like at least Corral A this year was kind of empty compared to other years. I don't know why, if it was just people not signed up, low numbers, or how they did things, but it was kind of abnormal. So when we started, probably went out too fast. Well, I went out faster than I planned to because I think I needed to keep, what's that, like a 6:30, 6:40 pace to get my 2:50 time. And I was banging out like 6:10s and under for like the first 4 miles. I think I even hit like a under 6 at one point. I didn't get to look at my splits yet. I just uploaded it to Strava and Garmin. I'd have to look later. So I was banking some time, trying to figure out how much time I was banking and whatnot. Because, you know, 250, I'd at least have to do a 125 or less in the first half. Hopefully less, so that way I could, you know, I'm going to slow down the second half because I don't do the negative split thing. Because to me, that just leaves too much time on the table. So I just kept trying to figure out how much time I was banking. That way I could, when I slowed down, how much time later my pace could drop. I know it started raining. I forget what mile it was. It was between 4 and 6. Then started coming down a little heavier. I know at like mile 8 there was like a straight stretch. I looked back because that was a point where I could see the stadiums behind me. And I looked and it was really dark, and I was just like, shit. I was like, if that comes and stays, this race is just gonna suck the rest of the time. And when you're 8 miles in, you're just like, well, what are you gonna do? You ain't gonna just quit. Not that I would ever quit like something like that just because it's raining. I just didn't want my my goal time to just be thrown out the window because of rain. Oh, let me get a drink. Rainy conditions. But it quit after a while. It did downpour a few times, and when I say downpour, I'm lucky I had a hat on with a brim, because otherwise I probably wasn't able to see much. I think I ditched my shirt around mile 4 or 5 at an aid station. I did my typical, every aid station I try to take water in. I think this year they had noon, so I grabbed both. Noon was first, then water. So I'd grab both, and since they're spaced out, I was able to down the noon before I got to the water. Tried to make it in the basket every time, the garbage basket every time. Did a few times. I know there wasn't as many people cheering today along the course, but I think that was because of the rain and the first year back for the race. Not that that's a big deal. It was just something I noticed. Still a heck of a lot of volunteers. The traffic obviously was completely controlled, which is nice. I did get a little bit lonely during the race. I just felt like I was running alone too much from like the Pittsburgh Marathon. Got kind of bored and, like I said, lonely. I get tired of running alone all the time. Just because I was in that, I could see people in front of me and I could see people back, but I was sort of in that middle ground. I didn't want to speed up, but I wasn't going to slow down. Race-wise, I just tried to pick people off a bunch, just staring at their backs so I get that free speed without having to move, faster. Your body just takes it over if you look at the back of somebody in front of you. I did a lot of tunnel vision that first half of the race, where I just zoned in on people. Not necessarily just picking them off, but just by using them to maintain my pace and go faster without really having to try. It's one of those mental things. If you ever get a chance to try during a big race or a small race, there's people in front of you. Generally, I felt pretty good. Really not much to talk about in the first half. I know that big hill of the biggest hill of the race, but it's like, I forget what mile it is. It's after a bridge, and then you head up towards Pitt. That's when it started raining really good. I ended up peeing behind some construction vehicle. So that was like, I know that was my first or second time peeing on the course. But I did put my rubber gloves on that bridge for the big hill, because my hands were getting a little cold from the rain. And then once you get cold, it's a downhill spiral, and you waste more energy trying to stay warm. So I put the latex gloves on. Obviously, since it's an uphill for a long stretch, my pace slowed a little bit up there. There wasn't really nothing major. I pushed through, and I pushed a little harder on the hill to keep it as low as possible. I know I didn't see lightning a couple times on the course. I did get worried that they were going to pull us, or what was going to happen if the lightning kept coming. Because you just can't have a bunch of runners when it's like lightning real bad. Luckily, it was only like sporadic. It did seem a lot hillier this year than previous years, so that sucked. The course did seem a little different in the back half. I think they did change it up a little bit, or I'm just not remembering right, but I'm pretty sure there's a few sections that we did make a couple different turns this year. I could be wrong on that. I just kept plowing through every mile. Even from like mile 6 on, I just kept doing math every mile, trying to figure out, all right, this is how much time I got left, maintain this pace, how much time you have in the bank, and whatnot. You know, I was so worried about my pace and staying ahead, it actually made the time go by, I'd say probably a little faster than normal. I think I'd have to look again. I'm just going by like off glance. I think I had like 3 minutes at the halfway mark ahead of pace. So I was like, whoo, all right, you bank some time so that you can do like a 7 minute or under the rest of the time and get your 250 mark. But I did notice I did start to slow down after that big hill, maybe like mile 15, 16. I just got in like a funk real quick. But I was still running under 7 minutes. So it wasn't really a big deal because I knew I was still under the mark. Mile 17, I was farting a bunch today. I think it was those 2 Nugos, too much protein. Mile 17, my stomach hit me and I had to go to the bathroom like right now. And I was like, crap. I was like, it was one of those that, you know, you can't hold or force back in you. It was because I was running so hard for so long, everything was just ready to come out in a non-solid form. So then it was hurting, and I started looking for alleys and people's yards. I was like, man, I don't think I can go much farther. Somehow I made it to like 18. Where there was like an aid station, and after the aid station there was a porta-john, and I just went. I had to. So that cost me like 2 minutes there, because that was my worst mile. I think it was like an 8:47 mile. And I was doing under 7, so right there's 2 minutes of my time just because I had to go to the bathroom. There's nothing I could do. And then I lost a few more seconds because the stinking bibs this year sucked ass. I will complain about the bibs this year. I don't know what it was, but I never had a bib like just rip from the pins a bunch. I had to do that like twice during the race. So that cost me another 15-20 seconds just fixing the pins on the bib. So I ended up sticking 2 through the damn magnet part or whatever you want to call it that reads the chip time. Because otherwise it just, like me running so hard, or the air was just catching underneath the bib and just ripping the bib away from the pins, and you can't have that. I didn't want to end up losing the bib. So that sort of pissed me off. I don't know what the bibs were this year, if it was just mine or whatnot. So that's my complaint. Better bibs next year, thicker or something, and you know, it just doesn't rip as easy. So then, you know, after going to the bathroom, it was hard to get started again real quick. And that's sort of like where I started slowing down. You'll see me dropping. I think I was like 19 the first mat, and then like I was pretty steady around like 22, 23, I think, for the most of the race. And maybe like the last 6 miles I was down to like 33, then like 36 overall for the marathon, which I'll take, because I think I was 7th in like 35 to 39. So my age group had a pretty strong showing this year. By mile 20, I was feeling it a little bit in my thighs and my calves. So again, since I'm not like a big road runner, like pounding the pavement hard, they started to get a little bit tired. I just knew I had to make it to like 23, 24 when there's a downhill, and then it flattens out. Somehow to make it. Since I was running basically by myself then, like I didn't get to use the tunnel vision anymore. I started to lose a little bit of concentration. Somehow I just kept going. I think it was more because of, mentally I was just checking pace, instead of using the tunnel vision that helped earlier in the race. Kept passing this hand cycle guy, then he would pass me. I've probably gotten his way a few times, because I wasn't really paying attention behind me. Somehow made it to like 23, mile 24 when it flattens back out. My legs really started to feel it on the flat part, but I knew I had like 20 minutes to be under my, to get a PR for 2 miles, and I was like, well, shit, that's 10-minute miles. I was like, you're more than capable of that, so let's see what you can do. I ended up having to pee again with like a mile 1.2 left. I think I was just right before the 25-mile mark. I ducked behind some vehicle. So again, I lost like 20 seconds there. But I had to. I know if I didn't go, then it was just gonna bother me and I was gonna slow down, so I just bit the bullet. Plus I knew at that point I wasn't gonna hit my 250 goal. Even though that 20 seconds I would have liked to have had that back. But what can you do? I finished strong. At least I felt I finished strong. Again, I've PR'd by 5 minutes. So I'll take it. I might not have hit my 250 goal, but again, with the weather, having to go to the bathroom and whatnot, to me, I hit my mark. Like, to me, mentally, I would have hit 250 or less. So I can't be upset about it, because in the back of my mind, I know I'm capable of a 250 if everything goes right. And when you run that long of a distance, everything has to go right. It's not like a 5K where you can just blast it and go and burn all your energy because you know you're going to be able to do it. So I'm happy with that, for not having to race the marathon for time in like 4 years or whatever it's been. And then after last week at the Quay, how bad I was, and then after getting the news with the doctor, you know, all things considered, 253 looks really damn good in my book. To me, it's almost like a 245. I know it's not, but you know, to me, that's about what it was. Because let's just say I was at like 122 at the halfway mark. So even if I did like a 125 back, I'm at like a 247, 248. So I'll take that any day of the week. So then I finished, got a couple heat blankets because I knew I had to go back to the hotel. Went and changed real quick, pooped again. Got some nice dry clothes on, recovered a little bit, headed back to the festival area. Talked to a bunch of people. The festival area sucked. It wasn't as big and didn't seem as welcoming as past years, but whatever. I don't know if it's because of COVID first year back, or they're just not going to have as much anymore. Whatever the case may be. I did get my Point Park State Park stamp today. They gave me a sticker, so because I forgot my book. Well, I wasn't going to carry a book around, so that's another huge plus of the trip. Got that stamp finally, because I always forget my book or the museum's closed. So yeah, got to get a picture underneath the PR bell, and then a picture with my one friend who had a big banner thing of her. Then I hung around for a little bit talking to my friends as they came in from the finish line. So that was nice to see. I probably saw like 50 to 60 different people today. Saw my cousin. I know when I was passing the relay, I kept looking for people over there in the relay. I just couldn't see anybody as they were going by. I don't know if it was too fast or I just wasn't paying it. Like, I didn't know who to look for. I just figured maybe I'd see a recognizable face. I didn't, but I was definitely staring. I was like, every time I went past the relay. Other than that, that's about it for race-wise. Volunteers, again, were all awesome. They all had the cups out ready at the aid station water stops or whatever. They had the old hand flat, like you should, on those Dixie cups. So that way you could just go, like, pinch it and go. not like some races where people have them like this and you have to like grab them out of hands. They actually had them done the proper way, which is awesome. Thank you, Pittsburgh Marathon, for, I don't know if that was a tip for you guys, or that you guys gave the aid station people, or if they just knew from experience, but thank the volunteers for that. Thanks for all the cops, EMTs, all the crap. I don't even know who all was helping today, but thank everybody for closing the roads, keeping us safe, watching out for us, the people in charge who put it together. But it is like just watching people coming in at the finish. I was actually at the finish where people pop out of like the finish line by the festival area. It's always fun to see some people with like the bow legs after a marathon. I mean, it's funny to me for this reason, because, well, you see people bow-legged or struggling because you know what they're going through. Like, having experienced it before and, you know, on different occasions, to me, it's like a rite of passage. It's just like, all right, you just had a rite of passage by, you know, finishing the marathon or half marathon, and now you're bow-legged. It's just like one of those, like, golden torch passing it on type moments. Not that I feel bad for people like being bow-legged or sore. It's just like one of those, yeah, like I said, passing the torch type deal. It's like, it's a rite of passage that you get to like full experience. And then just being being humbled by people pushing through whatever issues they're going through, you know, mental, physical, and just keep going away, plugging away, you know, hitting their goals, or maybe they didn't have a goal and they're just out having a good time. It was just, again, humbling to see so many people out today having a good time. I don't think anybody was upset. I mean, people might be sore or crying from like happiness, but it seemed like everybody was generally having a good time, which is what it's all about. It's just fun to see people from all walks of life, all abilities, just getting out there, getting after it, being healthy. It's just humbling, and you know, that's what it's all about. So everybody keep up the good work. Hope you guys decide to run again, race again. You know, keep looking after your health. So, I guess that's about it. This is pretty long, so right now I feel pretty good. I walked it out, you know, going to the hotel, then coming back to the start, and then going back to get my car. So my legs actually feel pretty good. I mean, they're a little bit tender, like, you know, after you run for that long, not just time, but like distance, you know, you get that little soreness, but it's nothing like I'm gonna be like bedridden for like 2 days. I'll be able to run pretty good tomorrow, I think. Did leave a little bit of time out there because I was under pace. I probably could have, I don't know if I wanted to push anymore early in the race, because then you blow up, but I was under the pace I was shooting for most of the race, and that's what it was about for me, trying to get my goal. I'm happy with it, how I finished. So when I get home, I'll look and compare to like what my actual PR is, well, was, compared to what it is now, to actually get like a specific time of how many minutes and seconds it was. I know I BQed, not that it matters to me because I'm not going to go back, or I have no desire to go back right now, but I should have like a 12-minute cushion on my Boston qualifying time, because if I was 2:53, I think my BQ time has to be like a 3:05 at least, and maybe a 3:10, but I want to say it's a 3:05, so I have a 12-minute cushion. So if I really wanted to go next year, I'd definitely be able to get in, but I don't want to spend the money. So that's another feather in the cap for this year's. I BQ'd just to say I did. So, all right, I'm gonna finish driving home, grab some food, and going to Schaefer's later to get some tea-berry ice cream as a reward for my good job today and everybody else's. I'll make sure to get some sprinkles in honor of everybody who crushed it today and had fun.